So welcome. My name is, as Rhiannon said, my name is Steve Browning. I am the Community Education and Training Specialist here at Westside. I'm also one of our person-centered thinking trainers, one of two. Myself and Rhiannon are the two trainers here at Westside. And so tonight, what we wanted to do is we wanted to go over creating a, I do believe I'm sharing my screen, correct?
You are, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so we wanted to go over creating a one-page description for transition. A one-page description is a tool to use to introduce your child to others as they grow and as they learn. So we wanted to give this presentation just to give you a head start on getting that one-page description up and running. Since there's only a couple of us here tonight, did you guys get a chance to download? I sent out earlier a template, and I'm hoping that you were able to download that and so that you can use it tonight. If not, we will share it a little bit later. Tonight, we're going to learn about a one-page description. We're going to learn about how to use a one-page description to prepare a one-page description for your child so as they transition out of early start. And we're going to start to create your child's one-page description for the transition. We're going to share with others what you've created. So this is, it's a participatory webinar tonight. So we'll get to talk to each other and stuff. So what have we learned? You know, as a community supporting people with disabilities, what we've learned is that good plans and advocacy tools work for all ages and in many, many different circumstances. You can, if you're a person, if you're breathing, you know, person-centered thinking works for you. We're going to take just a look at one piece of a planning process. It's called a one-page description, and we're going to talk about how it can be used when introducing your child to different situations. So like if you're looking at a new childcare provider, you can introduce your child to the new provider using this, you know, a new babysitter. Taking your child to a new doctor, you can introduce your child to a new doctor using this this one-page description. It's a great tool. I use it for myself. What we're going to learn a little bit later is that I use it for, you know, I've helped my nephew develop one for his daughter, for my niece, for my great niece. So it's one of those tools that you know, I use it. I think it's a great tool to use, and I hope that you learn from what we're going to be talking about tonight. So what is a one-page description? I don't know if you've ever taken any person-centered thinking training, if you're familiar with it or not, but a one-page description, it's a positive introduction to someone that includes at least 3 components. So in this instance, a lot of times we'll create it for ourselves. In this instance, we're going to help you create one for your child. So it has 3 components. It has what people like and admire about you, or what people like and admire about your child, what's important to your child, and how to best support your child. Because your parents, your child is young, so they're not able to create their own. So we're going to rely on you. They're going to rely on you and the people in their lives to create this one-page description to introduce themselves to others. So the one-page description, it can be used for a specific purpose. As I said, it can be used to meet a new teacher or a new childcare provider, to meet a new doctor. When you enter a new play group, it can be used. Or when you meet a new service coordinator. As you transition out of early start, you're going to be meeting a new service coordinator. So this would be a great tool to use to introduce yourself and to introduce your child to the new service coordinator. So how do you develop a great profile? You develop a great profile in partnership with the people that you trust and the people that you know. So remember that folks, that when we're supporting folks, you're the expert. Nobody else knows your child as well as you do. So you're going to be the expert. So you're going to draw on yourself to help develop this for your child. So, you know, what you think and what you decide to include in this one-page description, you know, it's important. It's the most important things to your child. So, you know, you want to draw from, as you develop this, we're just going to get a start tonight, but as you develop it, you'll want to talk with your, talk with friends, your family, people in your support, people who are in your child's life, to gather more information that you can add to this profile. The profile, it's a living document. So as your child grows, this profile can grow. So what we found is that good partnerships exist when everybody in your child's life is able to help in this. Because, we don't always see the positive things in ourselves. So we're not always going to see every positive thing in our child. We need to grandma and grandpa, they're going to have information, our friends, they have information that they like and know about our children that we might want to include. So who should I talk to? Good plans and descriptions and ideas, they come from several people. So sometimes, like I said, sometimes it's hard to know what to say about ourselves, and it can be helpful to call upon the people that know us best and know our children best. So in a few minutes, Rhiannon and I are going to kind of demonstrate what a partnership process might look like, so that you guys can kind of see a real life situation on how we can help somebody build a one-page description, and how I built a one-page description, helped to build a one-page description for my young niece, great niece actually. I think in order to understand one-page descriptions, what I've prepared is I've prepared a grouping of one-page descriptions to show you, so that you can get a good idea of what they might look like. So first, I'm going to introduce you to Maxwell. So Maxwell he's 3 months old at this point. Maxwell's mom is a person-centered thinking trainer, and she created this when she was getting ready to go back to work. Nobody knows how to take care of Maxwell like mom does. So she created this so that folks could step in and help to take care of Maxwell. So, it helped everyone involved in his care, just to know what to look for. So the things that I like to point out is, things that are important to Maxwell is he likes to be held upright like a big boy. He likes to, things that he likes to play with his feet. So he likes to lay on his back and grab those feet. When he gets tired, he rubs his eyes and he yawns. That means that he's tired. And sometimes his eyes will look red when he's tired. And you can help him with his nap by holding him and helping him to use his nook, his pacifier. He does pace feeding, so with a bottle. So, it says burp me and hold me upright after you give me my bottle. That helps. So there's Maxwell at 3 months. As Maxwell aged, he became a toddler. So things changed a little bit. So now things that are important to him are playing with cars, trains, and buses. He loves cars, trains, and buses. He's got that great little smile there. You can see in his picture. One of the things that they include. So other things is to check in with his teachers at drop-off, tell him about the morning and how to best support him. So it's good to tell the teachers about his morning. And he eats fast. So mom and dad need to tell him, eat one at a time. So rather than putting 2 or 3 things in his mouth, mom and dad remind him, just eat one at a time. That helps with the eating. And remind Maxwell needs a little bit of, just to help best support him, he needs a little bit of reminders to remind me to take turns and share and to slow down when running. We don't want Maxwell to get hurt. So those are the ways that we can support him. So we've got what's important to Maxwell, things that people like and admire about him, and how to best support him. Moving on to Liam. So Liam's mom put this together because he has a lot of medical appointments. So at the top right corner, you're going to see Liam. Liam is someone who is blind and he's deaf, and he has lots of medical appointments. So this one-page description, it was sent out to 2 different doctors. One of the doctors that received it took a look at it, and the other one didn't. In this, mom wrote down that Liam likes to, and he's likes an adventure. He needs help knowing his surroundings. So in order to assist him with new environment, so that he doesn't get hurt, he needs to move around, and we need to watch him so that he doesn't hit his head or get hurt. Liam uses his hands to communicate, so it's important to be attentive to what he's saying, or he might become frustrated. and he uses tactile American Sign Language, field signs with his hands, but he likes to explore. So one of the things that we noticed is that the doctor that was able to read this saw a lovely little child that was exploring the area, getting to know it, and he had a really good response with Liam. He got a much more positive outcome. So the doctor that didn't take a look at it, he found Liam to be a little bit more challenging, but that's because he didn't understand how Liam communicated, and he didn't really understand Liam. So I like this page because it demonstrates how one page can help somebody to understand what's important to a child and how to best support that child and their family. And here we have Georgia. This was created when Georgia was meeting a new teacher. So as you can see, Georgia is a young child who is full of energy. She's very energetic, and she likes to have, it's important to her to have space to run around so that she can be free. It's important that Georgia has time to do her own thing in between activities and instructions. So give her that time so that she can be much more successful. And Georgia needs to be kept stimulated. She can become easily bored and she can get easily distracted. So what we want to make sure that she has activities. Does anybody have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
No, same here.
So Rhiannon, were you going to take over at this point then? Okay,
Yep.
I'm going to take down my
can go ahead
slides
and pull mine up.
share.
All right, thank you. My slides are up, right?
They are. Thank you.
Thank you. So as Stephen described, he went over a few examples of some one-page descriptions with you and sort of different children and how their one-page descriptions can be used to help them in different situations. So medical appointments, going and meeting a new teacher, all kinds of situations, meeting a new service coordinator. So since we imagine that your children are getting ready to move out of early start, or that's the focus of this training, we are going to build a one-page description to prepare for the next stage, for what's next. So hopefully you received this in an email. Did Diana and Justin, do either of you need a copy of the template that's up on the screen?
No, I got the email.
Okay, cool.
I actually, yeah, I think I need mine. Need a copy on email.
Okay, I know that I have it on my desktop, Stephen, so I can upload it pretty easily. There it is. Okay. So you should be able to grab it from the chat box if you click on it there.
Yeah,
okay, got it.
Great. So keep that on hand, or you might want to open it up. We are going to start building on it. So let's go ahead and talk about the first section. So for the first section, you have what Stephen already went over, which is what people like and admire about your child. So we're building this on behalf of your children. So we want to think about what are some really great things that people have said that they like about your kid, or anything that you really like and admire about your child. And this can include personality strengths. It can include traits of character. So I think that this is pretty straightforward, but just to help, we'll model based on Stephen's great niece. So Stephen, I know that you just said that you helped your family to create a one-page description for your young niece. And I'm wondering, what were some things that you all identified as liking and admiring about her? Just a couple examples.
So two things is that we identified is she is super energetic. And so she is on the move all the time. And she's very expressive. And so those are two things that people have said that they really like and admire about Emma.
Awesome. And so I'm sure that there are a lot of other things that were listed. So you'll want to go ahead and list those. We'll give you a couple minutes to list those in that first section on the template, what people like and admire about your child. You can do that in bullet bullet list form or bullet point form. So you don't have to kind of write out sentences. Just 1 word or 2 word descriptors is usually enough. So there's some examples up on the screen of different words that, you know, might help trigger some ideas, since we are sort of putting you on the spot, but I'm sure you have some really great things to say. So we'll give you just, you know, a minute or 2, and we'll play some music in the background and give you some time to build that. Okay, so since we are just getting started tonight, and maybe there will be others in your family or in your kid's life that you might want to consult, we'll go ahead and move on. But I should mention that at the top of this 1-page description, you'll want to write your child's name. This is their 1-page description. So if you didn't type that in already or write that down, please go ahead and include their name there at the top. And you can date it so that you remember kind of when you started getting this draft going. And yeah, so, you know, we only have a small group tonight. We don't want to, you know, push anyone to contribute, but if you're open to kind of sharing some of the things that you wrote, we'd be happy to hear that out loud, or you can go ahead and type them in the chat box, just some examples of words that you used.
Yeah, I can share a little bit about in the first box what people like and admire about my child. I put friendly, has a ready smile and laughs. He's easygoing, determined, and he gets excited about food and music.
Great. Any particular music that he really likes?
Yeah, all kinds. You know, between his mom and me, we have a pretty eclectic mix. So I think he kind of inherited that.
Great, great. So that's awesome. And Diana shared that her child is playful, energetic, friendly once he gets to know you. That's helpful to know, and caring. So I really like the specificness, the specificity of what you put there around his friendliness. That will help people to kind of better understand who your child is as they're getting to meet them. So that's something to keep in mind as we're building these descriptions, especially for the next couple sections. And we'll help you understand what we mean by this, but you'll want to use really specific language. So that's why I was asking Justin what kind of music if there's a specific kind of music, because you would want to spell that out in case, for example, your kiddo's not a fan of jazz, but happens to react really well to rap music. It would be something that you would spell out so that people were aware of if there was something more detailed that should go along with that. And if not, then that's great. So the next section, it's not one of the sort of required sections of one-page description, but we think that, as your kid is getting older, as your child's getting older, it is important to think about, as a family unit, what are the hopes and dreams for your child over the next couple of years. So think about the next 2 to 3 years, or however many years you want to think about, but at least the next 2 to 3. And what is really your vision for your kiddo as they're learning and they're growing, they're, getting older? How are you teaching your child any values of your family, any cultural traditions? Is there a school district nearby that really promotes inclusive education, so that if your kid has any siblings or cousins or neighbors that, that they interact with, or that you would want them to be learning alongside of? That's something that, you might want to have in mind. And then any resources that could be beneficial to you and your family, and for your child in the community. So these are some ideas of what might come along with hopes and dreams. And you, of course, know your family best. But I want to ask Steve if he could share with us, when building this profile with your niece, what were some things that came up in this section? What are some examples?
Sorry, I forgot I was on mute. Yeah, a couple of things that my nephew identified, and actually my parents and my sister, we all sat down and did this together, is because she has so much energy. One of the hopes and dreams is that she can continue her dance classes. She loves dance. And one of the other things is that one of the other hopes is that Emma would learn how to communicate more effectively.
Okay, so awesome. So in terms of her dance, is there a style of dance that she participates in?
She's been participating in, I think, hip hop and ballet. So
oh, fun. Okay, it's quite contrasting.
Yeah.
Great. So your family would want to see her, kind of continue her dancing of hip hop and ballet.
Yeah, the hip hop really helps to get the energy out.
Oh, great. Yeah, you said she's really energetic, so that makes sense. And for the communication aspect, I'm wondering, was there a specific kind of development that your family was wanting to see there, or could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Emma has a habit of just screaming. If she has a point to make, she just yells. She just yells out, and she doesn't always use words effectively. So what we would like her to do is to start asking questions or telling people what she wants or needs, rather than to stand there and scream.
Okay, that was really specific. So I think that would be a great way for your family to phrase that for her on that one-page description, so that anyone who's picking that up and reading it would understand you're really working with her to use words in a way that isn't just yelling, around, better communication. So thank you for sharing. And we're gonna go ahead and kind of build this section. Are there any questions before we ask you to work on this box for a couple minutes? No worries if not.
No questions.
Great. So we'll get going with this next section here. And again, we'll give you about 2 minutes or so to start adding. So we'll chat shortly. Okay, so now you've started to build up that hopes and dreams section. Would either of you like to share one or two things that you wrote in that area or type in the box?
Yeah, mine kind of centered around community. When I didn't realize that they kind of had a common thread, but when I read them all together, they kind of did. And I'll just read you what I wrote down here, but like to, be able to connect with others and build his network using his magnetic personality and smile, to be able to express himself and to be heard and recognized through encouraging more signs and building his vocabulary. Right now he's about 2.5 and probably only has about like 20 words right now. And then to build relationships among his family and friends in recognition of the village that's helping to raise him currently. And as my wife's Mexican, I'm Filipino, as a Mexipino to realize the rich traditions, whether it's culinary, big family parties, faith communities that add a little color and spice to his background.
Excellent. Well, those are all really, really great points to have in there. Thank you for sharing. I learned a lot in just that couple of minutes, so thank you. And Diana shared to grow up happy and healthy, to be friends with his sister. So caring, co-caring, sharing, and helping, and to develop more words. So great, some similar things in there. And we're gonna keep adding to our profiles here. So in the beginning, Stephen spoke about a section that is called important to, and important to, what it means is, what are the things that make a person happy, content, satisfied? So we want to think about for this section, what are the things that you would want present, or your child, your child would want present because they make them happy as they continue to grow. So what are the things that should really be present in this area? And this could be things like, activities. I know music was already mentioned. So activities that make your child happy and really spark that curiosity, and, different types of people and things that your child would want to have around and would maybe not want to have around. Something that, part of happiness is also being aware of the things that we don't want around us, right? That kind of impact us negatively. So it's perfectly appropriate to speak about that as well. And then any places that your child would really want to continue exploring, or get to explore more. And then any kinds of routines that are helpful in the sense of happiness and satisfaction. So this section is really all about bringing joy in your child's life. We're going to talk a little bit later about some of the health and safety stuff. So try to look at this section through a lens of just pure enjoyment, basically. So we're going to give you another example with Stephen's niece. So Stephen, what were some things that came up as being important to Emma? Some things that really make her happy that the family wants to continue to see part of her life?
So when we were creating this, at the same time, I was bringing home a new puppy, Elvis. And we realized Emma has a couple of dogs. They have a couple of dogs of their own. But when we brought Elvis home, we realized that one of the things that really makes her happy is she loves puppy kisses. So she loves being around the puppy and she loves the dog kisses, which I'm not sure I'm real super happy with, but she just loves those. That it just makes her so happy. Another thing in the summer, something that really we found she loved and made her happy was butterflies. She loved to chase the butterflies, and she wouldn't catch them. She just loved to go look at them. And when they would land, opening their wings, it just made her so happy to sit and watch.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's really sweet. And I know you just recently brought Elvis into your life, so you'll have to go and visit her again soon, since she enjoys spending time with him so much. She's in the Midwest, is that correct?
Yeah. But I get pictures. They send pictures. The really cool thing is they send pictures of her because like I said, they have 2 dogs, and they send pictures of her with the dog all the time, and you can just see her face is all lit up in the pictures.
So it sounds like dogs in general are really important to her and make her happy. So that's great that she has some other dogs around, because if she was just waiting on Elvis, she might not get to see him very often.
Exactly.
Awesome. Cool. So this one's, pretty straightforward as well. So we'll give you another minute or two to build out this section. So go ahead and get started, please. All right. So sure there's some really fun things on this list. Do either of you want to share one or two that made it onto the profile or onto the description, I mean?
There was quite a lot of food on here. I mentioned it. It's freshly cut fruits, especially bananas, mangoes, blueberries, and avocados, noodles, and anything with barbecue sauce. So chicken nuggets and ribs.
Oh, nice. Developing a taste for the good stuff early, I see.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fantastic. And Diana shared carbs, crackers, fruits, rice, noodles. So sounds like both of your children have similar taste buds, similar things that they like. Cool. And anything beyond food that made the list?
I kind of put some stuff that he's sort of into now. He likes trying to act like a big boy and drinking from cups, even though he's not very good at it. And from like real water bottles. And he has this fascination on just making sure all the lights are off, like turning off lights and closing any and all cabinet doors and doors. Like everything has to be closed. So just kind of his thing.
Well, there you go. Someone's got to take care of it, right? Make sure the doors are locked and
exactly.
the cabinets are closed. Great. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing. Yeah. So these are things, obviously, especially for a 2.5-year-old, they're young, right? So maybe there's more to be learned here. And I'm sure as they get older in the next couple of years, there will be some areas, things that you learn about that really you see do make your child happy and would be things that they would want present as they kind of move on to the next steps, eventually when they're starting school or attending a daycare if they aren't already. We imagine this will continue to develop. So all of the sections really are going to continue to grow. And this next one is often a big one, especially for young children. But, just in keeping in mind before we get into this side of things, the health and safety, it's really all about balance. So when you take the full person-centered thinking training course, we talk about how we want to have a balance between those things we just talked about, which really make a person happy and satisfied and content, with the things that also keep them healthy and safe. So these are those things that need to be present because health and safety is obviously really important in order to make sure that your kiddo has the things that make them happy in their life as well. So a good balance between the two. And so when thinking about how to best support your child to stay both safe, healthy, and happy, some things that might come up are ways that they might need assistance to learn new skills or things that they would want assistance with. Things, in terms of communication, Stephen shared something regarding his niece in this area. So what can you do, or what supports might be needed to help make sure your child is heard, that their voice is heard, even if their voice is through signs or through unspoken language? What could be beneficial to making sure your kiddo is heard? And then, other things that you can think of in terms of health and safety. Technology, we all kind of use different things to support us to do the things we want to do. So if there's any kind of assistive technology devices or just technology in general, anything that would help your child to be valued in the community. So that falls under this category as well. And then again, routines and strategies that might be beneficial. So Steve, when it comes to Emma, what are some things that you all found would be great to help support her with health and safety?
Well, one of the things, Emma, we've talked about this before. Emma has a lot of health challenges, and she needs breathing treatments a couple of times a day. And like I said before, she's full of energy. So we need to make sure that she gets those breathing treatments, but we have to figure out a way to give them to her and occupy her time, because who wants to sit there for a half hour, getting this breathing treatment? So we need to figure out a way to do that. And they have explored different things. So putting on a movie that she likes really helps, or giving her a puzzle helps. The other thing is, because it all is surrounded by energy, because she loves to chase those butterflies.
Yeah.
So in the summertime, she also loves to climb trees. So if she sees something in one of the trees, there's a tree in my parents' backyard that has a huge rock under it.
Mm-hmm.
So she needs to be reminded that she can't climb that tree, the one that's over that rock, because if she falls, she could really get hurt. So she just needs to be reminded that and that's a health and safety issue, because if she falls on it, it would cause some problems.
For sure. Wow. So that's a great connection there between the two areas, right? So she really loves to chase those butterflies. Your family and you, I'm sure, want her to have that opportunity in her life for that happiness. But there is, things that gentle reminders that are necessary to keep her safe and healthy while she is chasing those butterflies. So that just happens to be one that really connects super well. And yeah, in terms of her health, obviously, anything that's going to make that situation with her breathing easier on her is going to be preferred. So we would want to see things like that included as well. And I think those are great examples. So this is obviously a very important section as well. So we'll go ahead and we'll pause again here for a couple minutes and give you a chance to build this section. Okay. So hopefully you're able to add some great things to that section, or some specific details that would really help keep your kid healthy and safe. So again, if anyone wants to share, or either of you are open to that, we'd love to have your participation.
I can put over, because he's been in the habit of climbing over a bunch of stuff recently, but just making sure he's not climbing over items dangerously. And one of the things that he has kind of intermittently been doing, kind of off and on, is finding satisfaction in the feeling of banging his head. And so just making sure that he's not doing that on hard surfaces or whatnot, and kind of redirecting his attention elsewhere. Another thing I put in was, in terms of like having him feel valued, it's he likes the little jobs he has at home or at the program. So like giving him a job or task like wiping down his tables, or like, he has like a play mop and a play broom that he loves just dragging along the floor and just cleaning up. So just giving him like some jobs where he can feel a sense of accomplishment. And he does. He'll clap or smile just because he feels like he's done something good.
That's fantastic. I could totally use his support over here at my place with the the mopping and the closing the cabinets. That's great though, that he has those opportunities to, to really participate in his surroundings. So that's excellent. Thank you. Yeah, so we kind of went through all the different sections here that we would, suggest including for the purpose of a one-page description to really introduce your child to the next steps, be that to a teacher, to a child care provider, to a new service coordinator. And, so now that we've gone and done that, how does it look? Will people who are supporting your child have a good sense of, what it means to provide good support to them and help them to have the great things that they like to do present? So did they learn some valuable information? And, you'll keep building on it, of course. But another thing to mention is to really think about personalizing it. So the descriptions we showed you earlier, there was one with dinosaurs all over it. Obviously, Liam's a big dinosaur guy, so that was important to him to have on his one-page description. And, anything in terms of colors or toys or animals that your child seems to really like, those could be some ideas or ways to personalize it. So we actually, I think we only gave you a PDF version, but if either of you are interested, we could send it in Word, or you could of course just go ahead and type up the headings that are on here in a way that makes sense for that design. So just another tidbit, since it's not meant to be viewed as just a form, we want you to be able to add flair and style that makes sense for your kiddo and for your family. So have at it. And so we've already shared a few different ways that this can be used. There aren't any real new ones up on the screen, but just keep this in mind as your kid is meeting new people in their lives, new providers, new case managers, anyone that they might be meeting, or new situations that they might be going into. This is really a great way to show who they are in a positive yet meaningful way. It gives good direction on how to have those things present that really matter and make your kid happy, but also to keep them safe and healthy while they are pursuing those things that are meaningful and align with your family's hopes and dreams in this case. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciated your participation. We know it was a smaller group. And any questions or comments from either of you before we send you on your way?
I was curious, do you have multiple versions of a one-page description based on who the intended audience is, or is it just best to sort of stick to one? Like, for example, one for like healthcare providers, one for like, babysitters and stuff like that. Like, do you find yourselves having multiple versions of this, or not really?
Yeah, we do. And I think Steve has a great answer to this as well. So I'll let him go for it.
Yeah, I'm an adult, but I actually have 5 versions of it right now. I have one for as a person-centered thinking trainer. I have one because I'm in a new position at Regional Center. I have worked at Westside for 23 years, but I was in a different position for 17 years, just transferred to this position. So I have one for folks in this position. Also, over the last year, I've had some medical issues. So, and I hate doctors, and I've had to see a ton of new doctors and specialists. So I have one that I specifically take to my doctor and give it to him. I've given it to new doctors as I meet them. So before they come into the room, I ask the nurse to give it to them. And I have found that it has made a world of difference with meeting new physicians. So, I have several different versions that I use in different situations. And I would suggest that. So as your child is meeting new people, adjust it to that new situation. And as your child grows, their one-page description is going to change. So it's going to grow with them. So I encourage you to have multiple versions.
Got it. Okay, great.
All right. Well, thank you again. And we hope that you enjoyed the workshop tonight. We're gonna add the recording to YouTube, I think, eventually. So if you have any friends or anyone in the community that might benefit from this, or you find yourself wanting to rewatch it later, that will be an available option. And I believe there's one more presentation coming up in this series.
There is one more.
Yeah.
It is on April 25th.
April 25th.
5. It's the introduction to the Westside Family, the Resource Center.
Yeah. And thank you again for being here, and we'll let you get back to your evenings. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Bye.